the fluoride, whatever.
Solvang Fluoride, LLC, a manufacturer of liquid furanolic acid.
I don't know what prices do on fluoride, or I can't pronounce it either.
I understand that I'm not here to dispute whether we put fluoride in the water. I just want to make sure that you guys understand that the contract before you is part your responsibility to your constituents. I want to show you this picture. This is the MSDS from the contract that you're approving for them to put in our water supply. This is a skull and crossbones, which usually symbolizes poison or death. I'm going to read you a short summary here. These are chronic and acute effects of the contract that you're about to approve. And I'll just list some of them at the end. Ulcerations of the nose, throat, and bronchial tubes, cough, shock, pulmonary edema, fluorosis, coma, and death. Now, if that's not enough to keep it out of the water, I don't know what is, and I understand that's not what's up for discussion right now, but just know in your hearts when you go home today that you were part of approving this contract to bring this to our city, to our water supply, to the water that my children bathe in, to the water that your children bathe in. I find it very uneducated. I find it very offensive that there hasn't been enough of your guys' support in educating the community so that they can make a decision on whether or not we want this in our supply.
And just so people are clear, this is not about whether the city should be doing fluoride or not. This is about a contract for implementation of a city policy.
Hi. So, again, I know we're down here to talk about the bid. That's what I'm here to comment on. So in the proposal under the environmental considerations, it just states that you don't have to make any environmental considerations according to the state law. And I don't see how, if you're putting anything inorganic in the water, I mean, you got to get your head checked or something if you think that's not going to have any possible, not to even check if there's any environmental considerations. And if you go down to the MSDS from Solvay Fluorides, the people you're probably going to award the contract to, under ecological information, even on their own, as part of their documents that they submit to you, part of the proposal, it tells you the possible environmental concerns that you guys should look into. It talks about how the toxicity can affect the fish, algae, crustaceans, everything, basically anything in the whole ecosystem of the river. I mean, you guys add the chemicals to the finished water, it goes through the whole system and then goes back to the treatment plant and out into the environment. So how can you not actually check for possible impact on the environment? And I've been working for the past few months on salmon habitat research, trying to restore salmon habitat in the American River. And then I see you guys not even concerned about the possible impacts that this can have, this chemical can have on the salmon population. And it even lists here one species, Salmo gardneri, that's rainbow trout. But really it actually affects, if you actually look into the peer-reviewed research, it affects all salmonid species, Chinook salmon, everything.
The point I want to make is whether it's vaccines or fluoride or spraying or some of these other things, public health isn't something that is always an easy goal to accomplish, and you're trying to provide widespread benefit to a community and a population, and not everybody will understand that. And I think that the most important thing that we can do, though, is these preventative actions.
My concern is not about your contracts. I know you got a problem in contracts, and you're going to have a problem in awarding contracts, because anytime that you can't protest a competitive bid, you got a problem in your administration. My thing is about putting this chemical in water and people drinking it. That's my concern. Now, when we look at some research, this same chemical was used in Germany to control the people. What are you using it here? Did you do the test? And the population did not use this chemical, and the population did use it. That's the only way you can do a study on this. Somebody lying to the people. You can't keep lying to the people.
To the council. And as we're doing this, I'd like to, again, remind people this is about an appeal of a contract. This is not about the fluoride policy of the council or the city.
Okay, so
My name is Kim Glassard again, and I'd like to recommend denying all bids for the fluorosilicic acid. As was mentioned earlier, it's listed in the MSDS safety data sheet. Some of the health risks, potential health risks for hydrofluorosilicic acid are in skin contact. It causes severe burns. There's a risk of shock. In cases of contact with the fingers, severe pain after several hours, hypocalcemia, followed by extended lesions is possible, intoxication, hazards by simultaneous inhalation of the product, irritation, redness, swelling of tissue. If it's ingested through water, severe burns of the mouth and throat, as well as danger of perforation of the esophagus and the stomach, risk of throat edema and suffocation, risk of chemical pneumonitis, and product inhalation, and risk of hypocalcemia with nervous problems, cardiac arrhythmia, risk of convulsions, loss of consciousness, deep coma, and cardiopulmonary arrest. Symptoms include nausea, bloody vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, cough, severe shortness of breath. It's a toxic substance that we don't want in our water. We shouldn't be approving it on any level. We don't need it for the people. We don't need it for the fish and the environment and other susceptible animals and just our whole environmental system doesn't need it. And thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
I personally believe that this is an important topic. The Center for Disease Control has identified fluoride in the water as one of the top 10 most significant factors in the last 20 years to help young people, particularly in disparate communities.
Shut up, slave!
So, although framed in terms of the contract, the discussion got diverted a bit. So I'm also with the majority of that discussion. I selected just one of a lot of things that I'd collected on fluorine compounds that are of concern right now to an area of climate change. For instance, some of them are many times the greenhouse gas potency of carbon dioxide, but that's because fluorine atom is very active, very reactive, as you probably have come up with in your own research. And I think it's something that probably will change in national policy, but I think you can make a difference here in helping people locally as well. This was ostensibly to help people. That was the reason given. And I think the thing that I have in my hand is from a study which was an author at Harvard who worked with his colleagues in China and came up with the studies comparing, looking at the neurological effects in developing children, fetuses, and young children, and discovered a significant drop in IQ of those people who lived in fluoride-rich areas as compared with those people who were not exposed to so much fluoride. So I printed out a copy of it.
Right, yeah, to the clerk.
Yes, these men and their hypnotized followers call this a new order. It is not new, and it is not order.